Hey everyone, welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host, Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Patil. Daivata, welcome on the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Nateen. It's wonderful to be invited at your podcast. It's an honor.
It's great to have you here. Tell us, who is Daivata?
Well, Devata is a storyteller. She cooks up stories and she's great at narration. And probably that's what brought me into filmmaking. You can say that a lot of stories are made up from around my surrounding. Some of it are my own personal narratives, and probably that is what keeps me going in what I'm doing right now.
Tell
I'm a
us a little more
producer.
about what you do. What is Onjal Arts? And I'm always curious to learn, why does somebody start something and how it comes about. So tell us a little more about Onjal Arts and how you got started and why.
Onjal Arts is both a business and as well as a personal venture. We Let me just start with the business venture, and then I'll come to the personal story of it. When we see content around us, I have a feeling that very few sensible content makers are around. Like, media is the fourth pillar of democracy, and it has an important role to play in societal shaping up societal mindset. And therefore, the platform or benchmark of Onjal Arts Production is set. We thought that we will come up with social issues, issue-based content, which will not only entertain but also sensitize people over various issues. So that was the idea behind starting Onjal Arts Productions. I started this with my husband, who's my life partner and my business partner. And together we had, in our college days, started a short film, and the name of it was Onjal. So Onjal basically means a handful of, like this, when you do, this is called Onjal in Marathi. So this was the thought behind starting this short film, and today, 22 years down the lane, we are there with our professional setup.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's amazing to get to share that with your life partner also. So that's awesome. Congratulations on coming
Thank
this
you.
far. Tell us a little more about the impact you've been able to create in terms of the stories, the documentaries, the films that you've been able to share with our community.
Documentary is only one so far. That was also for World Bank, but we are not more into documentaries. We've made television promos, commercials, and films. Film, of course, is a passion. Commercials is bread and butter. We've made two films so far. The first one was released in 2018, and the theme line of that film was, can 12th standard be the benchmark of a student's career life? Being a media educator and a mother of a 13-year-old and kids in the joint family, I've seen that there's a lot of societal pressure on the kids,
Mhm.
and also the parent pressure that 12th and 10th standard is the benchmark of your educational life. And if you don't score well, your life is doomed. And of course, that leads to a lot of stress. And number of suicidal cases also are increasing because of that. And probably that set the benchmark for our first film. And it talks about, can 12th standard be the benchmark of a student's life? And also, in India, there's this fascination about becoming a doctor and
Yeah.
engineer. If you are neither of them, then you are like, you
Mhm.
cannot set anything in your career. So that can't be the case. Those can't be the two last career options in your life. Let the child choose their passion, was
Mhm.
the message that we wanted to give. The second film, which is due to be released in December, talks about reproductive rights of women. It's a societal pressure that there has to be a boy, male child in the family, and there are a lot of superstitions around it. So this particular film, where a healthcare worker tries to help out another villager woman, and she's trying to ensure that she's getting a safe delivery in the hospital, which probably is one of the major concerns. Of course, over the years, there has been a significant growth rate in reducing maternal death rate. So that is the plot.
Very important causes that you're bringing to life with your productions. Having gone through the same education system, I can relate to and know firsthand of the pressures we have when it comes to your 12th standard rank and marks and all of those things. And also can tell you from my personal experience that it's okay, right? There are many things that contribute to your life, to your success, and even the definition of success. So it's very important, and I'm glad you're bringing both women's reproductive rights and children and their careers and how they should get a say and a choice in making these decisions. So I applaud you for taking on these important topics, and I'm sure they're not easy to narrate and easy to bring to life. So thank you for doing what you're doing. As you're dealing with these important topics that are challenging for millions of people, I'm curious to learn about the one challenge that you're facing.
I think it's not just one challenge that I'm facing. It's across all media houses, which I don't think so just in India, but across the globe, they're facing is the media disruption. Before COVID and after COVID, there has been a significant difference in the way media content is delivered, distributed, and consumed. There has been a shift to digital platforms. Of course, that shift was due, it was to come, but it came a little ahead of its time. And probably, why media content producers are facing a challenge, define the audiences, monetize them, understand that which platform is what media audiences are liking and whether they are ready to pay for that or not. So that is one challenge that I see particularly. More so being a regional content, the challenges are next level because when you're dealing at a national level, your audience size is big, and when you're dealing at the regional level, it automatically cuts down to 126 or 127th of the audiences. More so, because I'm in Maharashtra, there is Bollywood in Mumbai.
Mhm.
So there is a strong competition from Hindi content producers, and they are big fishes, like they are the whales, and I'm a small fish in the sea. So that's a big challenge. But yeah, we are thankful that the regional audiences are loyal. If there's something good content that is delivered, they do come back and they do applaud and recognize your. And I think that I'm thankful to them that they did it in my first film. It was a commercial hit.
That's amazing. That's great to hear. Now, let's talk about opportunities. I would love to hear what is the most exciting opportunity that's in front of you.
Opportunity, I think I compare the situation right now in media business to what globalization brought to India. Back in the 90s, when media businesses were proliferating, corporatization of media was happening, there were a lot of opportunities. Whoever entered the media got a job, got a good profile, started the business, they were successful ventures, barring a couple of exceptions. 20 years, 25 years down the lane, I see that with digital media and artificial intelligence, there lies an opportunity. I think I would look at it from the flip side of it. Many people say that AI is going to kill the opportunities in the market and a lot of people will be losing jobs. I don't think so that's the case, because every new thing brings up a lot of opportunities and it kills old opportunities. So of course there will be some jobs which will be lost, but there will be a lot of opportunities which will be created. If you are with the time and are able to understand the nuances of the market and the audiences, I think you're there. So I seek this as a very good time. Those who are able to synthesize digital technology are able to understand the audiences, digital audiences particularly, and also are able to shift the traditional audiences to the digital spaces in the right manner. I think a very good marketplace can be created.
I agree with you. With every disruption comes an opportunity to go in. And you mentioned the globalization that happened in the early to mid 90s. I was fortunate to be experiencing that when suddenly we had, instead of just Doordarshan, we had tons of options. And I remember those days when you couldn't decide what to watch. There were so many compared to the two or three things that you could watch before that happened. So I agree with you. There will be a lot more choice, and not just for the consumers, but also for the creators. And that always brings about a lot more opportunities. Now, as we look into the future, I always like to take a moment and look back in the past, in the rearview mirror. And I would love for you to share a couple of moments, one that did not work out as you had expected, and there was lessons maybe from failure, and another experience that was a success beyond your imagination. So I would love for you to share an example of each of those.
Let's talk about failure first. It was my second film, which never rolled out, never went on floor. We announced it, and the lockdown happened. Most of the shootings on floor were stopped, and thankfully, the pre-production had just started, so I had not invested much money. Money-wise, it was not a loss, but it did give a lifelong lesson to me that sometimes you need to listen to your inner soul, and you need to understand when to stop. You should not just get carried away. Since I've started, I should finish it. Sometimes that's not needed. Of course, things that you start, you need to finish. That's an age-old saying. But it's important to realize when to stop, when to not pursue things that you've started. Sometimes not starting is also something good that you're doing to yourself. Probably I realized in the beginning of the lockdown that this is not going right. It's not one of those short-term lockdowns where I should pursue it and take it ahead. So very timely, I realized that I have to stop, and everything was on standstill. So I could save a lot of money that I was planning to invest. So that's a lesson from a failure. Success, there are many, but I don't want to talk about material successes. Of course, like I can count some of them that I was invited at United Nations this year to share my views on women empowerment. I think that was some moment. I'm someone who works to the cause of women empowerment and gender equality, and being invited at United Nations is like doing Mecca and Haridwar, Kashi, and it's that is how I look at it. There were awards and all. There was success of the first film. But I think more real success is something that touches your heart. And I remember this one moment where I get a call from one of my past students, and after 10, 12 years, she calls me suddenly and she says, you know what, I am divorcing my husband right now, and thanks for giving this courage to me. I said, we were not in touch for 12 years, and how do you say this? Yeah. She said, for 10, 12 years, you were with me throughout my ups and downs. Whenever I wanted to take a career decision or a family decision, or wherever I faced hurdles, you were the first person that came to my mind. And I used to think that, how will you react to the situation? And that guided her 10, 12 years of struggle. I was moved by that call, and I literally was not able to sleep on that day. I think I would count that as my real success, where you are able to successfully mentor someone to the extent that that person, you become the source of inspiration to that person for like 10, 12 years. I still am getting goosebumps when I remember that call. That's
a beautiful experience and story, right, where you don't even know you're inspiring someone, which means it's truly selfless and you've done your best to share what you believe in and what your values are, and it resonates with somebody else. And I think I agree with you 100%. That is true success, because everything else is defined by somebody else. And in this case, you are able to take what you believe in and share it with others and help them in making the right decisions for themselves. So, congratulations on that. Now, to step aside from some heavy talk, I would love to hear from you what you do for fun, to de stress, to kick back and relax.
Fun activities depends on who the partner is, exactly speaking. Serious partner, then the fun activity can be a little on the serious side. If it's a younger one, then it's playing and all. But truly, I think what satisfies me is cooking. So I consider that as cooking as one of the therapies. That whenever I'm stressed or when I'm happy or I'm very angry, then I just straight head to the kitchen and start cooking. So when I'm like very angry and even frustrated, I choose one of the most complicated dishes. I think by the end of the dish, it just brings you down to your normal. And my husband said, I should do this often. I should frustrate you more often, because that's when I get to eat the best of the dishes. So I think my fun activity is cooking.
I love that. I love that you put yourself in a position of challenge and take your mind off of what is stressing you. And that brings out another best part of you. That's really cool. Now,
thank you.
You obviously must consume a lot to be able to produce what you do. So I'm curious to know if you have any book or podcast that is a favorite that you would want to share with our audience.
I think being a storyteller, I feel Mahabharata has been one of the greatest storytelling format, as well as the stories, the side stories that comes. It has always fascinated me, and it till today it keeps doing it. The Stories of Mahabharata by Ranveer is something that I would recommend everyone. Then the last book that I read was The Bitch by Lucy Cook. It talks about the women, or rather the female species, as being more powerful in the animal world. So I would highly recommend that. It just changes your perspective of looking at the female species in a very empowered manner. The current book that I'm reading is by Michael Pollan. It is The Botany of Desire. It talks about desire from the botany sense, like the plants and the fruits, how it invokes the sense of desire in you. So I think that was a very different take by the author. I'm still reading it, but whatever I've read, I think I'll recommend this to readers. And of course, your podcast is highly.
Thank you. You're very kind. But yeah, the botany book sounds really interesting. I will take a look at that. Thank you for sharing. Now, on to my favorite part of the show, which we call the one line life lessons. I would love for you to share your life lessons with us.
I'll share three of them.
Sure.
One is sometimes it is important to understand the difference between finishing and finishing. So not always you have to finish things, not always you have to finish things. Sometimes you need to prioritize that to save your time and also get goal clarity. You can't be perfectionist in everything. And that goes to the second one liner of me, that it's better to be real than be perfect. You just get burdened with the pressure of being perfect, and in that journey you just forget who you really are. So I think be natural self, that just de-stresses a lot of pressure on your personality, as well as you as a leader. You're able to not waste and invest your time, energy and resources, mental resources, in something which is deviating you. Third one is, if you keep reading the current chapter again and again, you will never start the new chapter again. So sometimes it's better to leave the old one to start a new chapter. And two things is, think positive and keep smiling. That's what I always do. People in my circle call me Laughing Buddha. So I always believe in smiling. It just de-stresses you and the other person also.
So true. That's a beautiful title to have. That's an amazing image to cultivate and be known for. So, congratulations for doing that. It's not easy, and definitely not easy in the industry you're in, which is full of lots of stress, lots of moving parts, cancellations, delays, and then, of course, everything that happened here in the last few years. So, kudos for you to keep the right thing in perspective, know what's important, and focus on that. And also for this amazing journey that you've had over the last 22 years. Congratulations for that, and wish you many more successes.
Thank you, Nitin. Thank you for inviting me here. It was wonderful to interact with you on a beautiful Sunday morning, not Sunday morning, weekday morning, actually. I hope it was a Sunday morning, but yeah, we're working on a Monday. It was a pleasure interacting with you.